3,000 meters beneath the waves, where human lungs would collapse and metal crumples, sperm whales plunge for over an hour, slowing their hearts, compressing their lungs, and scanning the abyss with clicks louder than a jet engine. Scientists have only cracked fragments of their code. Whales with 6 times our brain mass wield the world's most powerful natural sonar, and they spend nearly their entire lives invisible to us. But every scar on their skin and each echo tells a story science isn't supposed to explain. What makes these giants so strange, and how do they survive the impossible? At depths where the pressure could crush a submarine, the sperm whale's body becomes a living paradox. Air-breathing, warm-blooded, yet engineered for the abyss, these whales have evolved an internal toolkit that rewrites the rules of mammalian survival. Their secret starts with oxygen. How to store enough for a journey that can last over an hour without a single breath. Human muscles carry only a modest supply, but sperm whale muscles are saturated with myoglobin, a deep red protein that binds oxygen like a sponge. In a single dive, their muscles hold up to 10 times more oxygen than ours, turning every stroke into a slow release of stored life. As the whale descends, its heart rate plummets. What might beat 60 times a minute at the surface can slow to just 2 beats in the darkness below. This bradycardia is not a sign of distress but a deliberate conservation strategy. Blood flow is rerouted, shunted away from the skin and gut, reserved for the heart and brain. Peripheral tissues endure on their own reserves, powered by that cache of myoglobin. Meanwhile, the lungs, so fragile in the face of pressure, do not fight the crush. Instead, the rib cage folds in, and the lungs collapse safely, forcing air into the rigid trachea where gases cannot dissolve into the blood. This collapse prevents nitrogen from building up and causing the bends, a fate that would incapacitate any unadapted mammal. Inside the chest, a network of blood vessels known as retia mirabilia acts as a buffer, storing and releasing oxygen as needed. The whale's blood itself is thick with hemoglobin, carrying more oxygen per drop than almost any land animal. These adaptations work together, allowing the whale to stay alert, hunt, and return to the surface without harm. A leading physiologist once described the sperm whale as a diver built from the inside out, every organ, every molecule tuned for the deep. This is not an exaggeration. Even the whale's metabolism shifts gears. At depth, cells switch to burning fuel slowly, stretching every molecule of oxygen. The whale's body temperature drops fractionally, reducing the demand for oxygen even further. These tricks of biology are not just for endurance, they are shields against a world that would destroy most life in seconds. Flexible bones, oxygen-rich muscles, and a heart that nearly stops. This is the survival kit that lets a sperm whale slip into the abyss and return again and again unscathed. Only with these internal marvels can the whale's massive head, packed with acoustic machinery, function at full power in the crushing dark. But that is a story all its own. A sperm whale's world is built from sound. Deep in the black water, vision means nothing, but a single click can reveal an entire landscape. The secret begins inside the whale's head, a structure so massive it accounts for 1/3 of their body length. Packed into this space is the Spermaceti organ, a waxy, oil-filled mass that acts as an acoustic lens, focusing and amplifying each click into a weapon of perception. The process starts with the phonic lips, sometimes called monkey lips, tucked inside the right nasal passage. When the whale forces air through them, the lips snap shut, producing a sharp vibration. Unlike human speech, this sound is not shaped by a mouth or tongue. Instead, it ricochets through the Spermaceti organ, then passes into the junk, a lower chamber of layered fats, before emerging as a tightly focused beam from the front of the head. The result is a click that can reach up to 235 decibels, louder than a jet engine at takeoff. But it is not just volume that matters. The whale's head narrows the sound into a 10-degree cone, firing pulses straight ahead like a spotlight. Only prey caught in this invisible beam will ever know it is coming. The geometry is precise. A squid 500 meters away can be detected in total darkness, while a faint echo bouncing back through the water paints an outline the whale can read. The Spermaceti organ's unique construction, Oil density, shape, and internal partitions lets the whale fine-tune this beam, adjusting focus as it scans the abyss. Hunting is a game of rhythm and timing. At the start of a dive, the whale sends out slow, widely spaced clicks, sweeping the water column for any sign of life. As it closes in on a target, the interval between clicks shortens, the rhythm accelerates, and the whale enters the buzz phase, a rapid-fire burst of sound, sometimes dozens of clicks per second. This is the moment of pursuit, when the whale tracks a fleeing squid through clouds of ink and flailing arms. The buzz is so distinct that researchers use it as a marker for prey capture, recorded by suction cup tags on the whale's back. Each buzz reveals a chase unfolding in darkness, a drama measured in milliseconds. A leading bioacoustician once described sperm whale clicks as the most extreme biological sonar on the planet, a system so refined that it can map objects the size of a grapefruit in pitch-black water. The whale's cranial hardware and behavior are fused into a single toolkit. Every click, every pulse, every shift in rhythm is a calculated act, turning the alien silence of the deep into a world of echoes and opportunity. Beneath the surface, the evidence of battle is written across the bodies of sperm whales. Along their jaws and flanks, thick skin bears the imprint of struggle, circular scars, each one a signature left by a giant squid's suction cups. These scars can reach up to 4 inches across, often arranged in tight rings where tentacles once gripped and pulled. Some whales carry hundreds of these marks layered over decades of hunts in the dark. The scars are more than decoration, they are forensic proof of encounters that play out where no human has ever watched. Inside the stomachs of stranded whales, scientists have found the indigestible remains of their prey. Squid beaks, hard, parrot-like jaws, survive where flesh and muscle dissolve. A single whale's gut can hold dozens, sometimes even hundreds of these beaks, some from species that grow longer than a school bus. The largest belong to the giant squid, Architeuthis dux, a creature as elusive as the whales themselves. Each beak is a clue, a record of what the whale has hunted and overcome in the abyss. The pattern of scars and the presence of beaks tell the same story from different angles. Sperm whales do not simply snatch helpless prey, they engage in violent physical contests. A squid's arms, lined with hooks and suckers, can latch onto a whale's head or mouth, leaving wounds that never fully fade. In some cases, the scars are so deep they cut through blubber and into muscle, a testament to the force and determination on both sides. Researchers have mapped these scars, comparing them to the size and spacing of squid suckers collected from the deep. The match is precise. Every healed ring is a silent witness to a battle fought in total darkness, guided by sound and instinct. The physical evidence, scars on skin and beaks and bellies, bridges the gap between the acoustic world of the whale and the violent reality of its hunt. Where sonar tracks the chase, scar tissue and bone fragments document the aftermath. These are not abstract mysteries, they are tangible signs of a predator's life at the edge of what is possible. Long before scientists measured decibels and frequencies, sailors lay awake in their bunks, listening to the hull creak and the ocean whisper. Some nights, steady knocking echoed through the wood, strange and methodical, as if something immense tapped out a code from the blackness below. One whaling log from the 1840s records heard a knocking under the keel, regular as a clock, like the heart of the sea itself. These sounds fueled stories of monsters, creatures with heads the size of boats and eyes that never blinked. In the absence of explanation, fear filled the gaps. Centuries later, the ocean's mysteries have not vanished, but the tools for decoding them have changed. Scientists now lower hydrophones, underwater microphones, into the depths, capturing the same percussive knocks once heard by sailors. The recordings are anything but random. On a spectrogram, each click stands out as a sharp vertical line, spaced with mathematical precision. These are CODIS, patterned click sequences unique to sperm whales, each clan with its own rhythm, some as regular as the tolling of a bell, others complex and syncopated. Acoustic analysts have matched these modern recordings to the old tales. The measured intervals between clicks, the interpulse intervals, mirror the clockwork knocks described in ship logs. A single coda may last less than 2 seconds, but its pattern can travel for miles underwater, bouncing off the hulls of ships and the imaginations of those who hear it. For the first time, the mythic knocks and moans have become measurable data, their origins traced to the phonic lips and spermaceti organ inside the whale's head. What was once the language of monsters is now a subject for analysis, each click a data point, each rhythm a signature. The unknown has not disappeared, it has simply been translated into a language of numbers, revealing a world where science and legend overlap in the deep. In the 18th and 19th centuries, the world's hunger for light and industry turned the sperm whale into a commodity. The oil inside its head, spermaceti, burned brighter and cleaner than anything else available. It lit street lamps across Europe and America, fueled factories, and became the backbone of a global economy. Whaling ships set out from New England, the Azores, and Japan, chasing these animals across every ocean. Each voyage could last years, with entire towns depending on the return of barrels filled with oil. The scale was staggering. More than 1 million sperm whales were killed, their bodies rendered into oil, their bones left to drift or sink. The impact was not just ecological, but personal. Whole populations vanished from the North Atlantic and parts of the Pacific. Records from whaling ports show that by the late 1800s, it took longer and longer to find whales, sometimes months without a single sighting. As the 20th century advanced, new technology made hunting even more efficient. Steam-powered ships and explosive harpoons allowed whalers to reach the last remote refugees, pushing sperm whales toward the edge of collapse. Yet for all the records, barrels tallied, and ships logged, there are vast gaps in what was lost. No one counted calves orphaned or the social groups shattered. The scars left by whaling are visible in today's fragmented populations and in the silence that surrounds much of their natural history. A whaling historian once wrote, "The world's lamps burned bright, but the oceans grew dim." This era ended only when the International Whaling Commission enacted a global moratorium in 1986. By then, the world's sperm whale population had fallen to a fraction of its former size. The ban brought the slaughter to a halt, but the damage lingers in missing generations and unanswered questions. Modern science works in the shadow of this loss, trying to piece together the lives of a species nearly erased by human ambition. Sperm whales shape the ocean's chemistry with every dive. As they plunge into the depths and return, they bring up nutrients from the abyss. When they surface and release waste, nitrogen and iron are released into the sunlit layer, fertilizer for phytoplankton, the tiny plants that anchor marine food webs and pull carbon from the atmosphere. Each sperm whale can lift about 45 kilograms of nitrogen to the surface each year. Across the world's oceans, hundreds of thousands of whales magnify this effect, fueling productivity and helping regulate the climate. The story continues after death. When a sperm whale dies, its massive body sinks, becoming a whale fall, a rare event that transforms the seafloor. A 50-ton carcass lands thousands of meters down, feeding scavengers like sharks and hagfish, who strip away flesh in months. Then bacteria and worms break down the bones, releasing sulfides that support new life. Mussels, clams, and tube worms flourish, forming communities that can last for decades. Each whale fall seeds the deep with nutrients and carbon, supporting hundreds of species found nowhere else. A deep-sea ecologist once said, "A single whale can fertilize an ocean and feed a world." The fate of sperm whales is tied to the health of the planet. Their lives and deaths drive the hidden machinery of the sea, connecting surface and abyss in ways we are only beginning to understand. Nearly everything known about sperm whales comes from tools that work at a distance. Scientists attach suction cup tags that ride along for hours or days, recording depth, sound, and movement. These advanced dive behavior tags have revealed basic outlines of dives and hunts, but the picture remains incomplete. Most of a sperm whale's life still unfolds in darkness, far from any human observer. Even with hundreds of hours of tag data and thousands of hours of passive acoustic recordings, the daily routines of these animals remain a puzzle. How do they sleep in a world with no solid ground? Do they rest vertically, as some surface sightings suggest? Or is their sleep scattered in brief, drifting moments between dives? No one has seen it happen at depth. Navigation is another mystery. Sperm whales travel vast distances through featureless ocean, yet their routes are precise. The cues they follow, magnetic fields, subtle changes in water chemistry, or deep-sea landmarks are still debated. Tagging can trace a path, but not the internal compass that guides it. Communication, too, is an open question. Codas, those rhythmic click patterns, are now known to vary by group, forming clan dialects. But whether these patterns amount to language, with rules, syntax, and meaning beyond identity, remains unresolved. Machine learning has found structure in the clicks, hints of something more, but the code is unbroken. For all the technology deployed, tags, hydrophones, and drones, much of the sperm whale's world is still inferred from echoes and scars. Each new tool opens a window, but the view is narrow. The real story waits in the deep, hidden in lives that science can only glimpse for now. Today, entire sperm whale clans still vanish into the deep, carrying languages and cultures we barely comprehend. As noise pollution and climate shifts invade their world, what we fail to protect may disappear before we ever understand it. The ocean's largest brain holds secrets we are just beginning to hear if we listen in time. What would it mean to lose a mind we never truly knew? Share your thoughts below.